Boker Tov, good morning. It's wonderful to be here together on this lovely Thursday morning. Wonderful to be back with you today as we mark a new day and as we continue our march toward Yamim Noraim, toward the new year, as we're now in the month of Elul, this month of preparation for the holidays. Please do give a word of greeting to others who are here with us this morning. It's so good to be here with you. And good morning, Franklin. Good to see you, and Sean, and Fern, and Lance, um, and Eleanor. It's good to see everyone as we're here together for Boker Tov. Uh, I appreciate your efforts at typing. Good morning, Alan and Anita, and each of you and everyone as we say to one another, Boker Tov. Welcome to Boker Tov from Temple Sinai. Temple Sinai Congregation of Toronto's daily opportunity to connect, to reflect, and to remember. Good morning, Gloria, and good morning to one and all. I'm Rabbi Michael Dolgan, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this morning as we start the new day. And let's do so by turning to words of preparation, words of meaning, for this beautiful day that just offer gratitude for the day as it is. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yatzar et ha'adam bechokma u'baravo nekavim nekavim chalulim chalulim galui v'yadua lifnei chisech vodecha shim yipatech echad mehem o yisatem echad mehem yefshar להתקיים ולעמוד לפניך. ברוך אתה אדוני, רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות. Blessed eternal God, creator of the universe, you have fashioned our bodies with wisdom, creating within us a finely balanced network. To stand before you in prayer is itself a fragile miracle. Eternal God, we praise you as the healer of body and spirit. The soul you have given me, O God, is a pure one. You have created and formed it, breathed it into me, and within me you sustain it. So long as my soul is within me, I will give thanks to you, eternal my God and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. We praise you, eternal God, in whose hand is the power of all life and the spirit of all flesh. And now let's join together on this Torah day, La'asok b'divrei Torah, to look at Torah anew and to continue to make Torah part of our commitment to a life of learning and significance. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. וערב נא אדוני אלוהינו את דברי תורתך בפינו ובפי עמך בית ישראל ונהיה אנחנו וצאצאינו וצאצאי עמך בית ישראל כולנו יודעי שמך ולומדי תורתך לשמה. ברוך אתה אדוני המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל. אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור. These are the obligations whose value cannot be measured. They nourish us in this world and help us to create the world to come. Kibud av va'em, to honor fathers and mothers. Ugmilut chasadim, to perform acts of love and kindness. Vashkamat beit midrash shacharit v'arvit, to attend the house of study morning and evening. V'achnasat ochim, to welcome the stranger. Uviku cholim, to visit the sick. V'hachnasat kala, to provide for brides and grooms. V'levayat hamet, to keep faith with the dead. V'yun tefillah, to pray with sincerity. V'hava'at shalom ben adam lechavero, to make peace when there is strife. V'talmud Torah keneged kulam, and the study of Torah is equal to them all. Well, as we've shared many times, while this translation is okay, the word keneged, it doesn't really mean equal. It means stands opposite. It's as if it is opposite, because it's not that the study of Torah is opposite them all, but rather that it is like a mirror reflecting back. And so when we live up to the values of our tradition, it reflects back and says, yes, keep going. And when we fail to do so, or our society violates them, or our world ignores them, Torah helps us understand where we need to be focused. And so let's continue with the Birchot HaShachar that also are in many ways a morning mirror that say to us in blessings 2, 3, and 4. This is who you are, created in the image of God and free to make choices and able to choose to be part of a covenant people, a people who have commitments, moral as well as ethical and ritual commitments to the divine. And then here are ways you can partner with the divine in building your world. On day 691 of the captivity of hostages and families, we need to so remember our morals. And one of the ways we'll emphasize that is by saying the prayer uh, for returning hostages, for setting free the captive in Hebrew and in English, whereas other ways we'll do full Hebrew and then half Hebrew, half English. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לשכבי בינה להבחין בין יום ובין לילה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, you have created me in the divine image. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שעשני בן חורין. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, you have made me a Jew. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שעשה לי כל צורכי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, you open the eyes of the blind. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, מלביש ערומים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, you release those who are held captive. And again, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, מתיר אסורים, Hebrew. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, זוקף כפופים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, you maintain the balance of land and sea. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המכין מצעדי גבר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, you surround Israel with strength. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, מותיר ישראל בתפארה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, you give strength to the weary. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המעביר שינה מעיניי ותנומה מעפעפיי. We'll continue with reciting the words of Shema Yisrael, these essential words that are with us every morning and every evening, and that to call upon us to be witnesses to the world as it is, as well as to bring love of God and of each other into the world. Please join me and we'll chant the last paragraph, this being a Torah day. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם. בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת והיה להם לציצית, וראיתם אותו. וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטעו אחרי לבבכם, ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם. למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Well, it's just wonderful to be here with you today and to have this time together to affirm Torah and what it can and does mean for us, and how beautifully, wonderfully, painfully, in all those ways, it's relevant today to the real world in which we live. And this week's parasha, Parashat Shoftim, talks about the challenge of living a life in a society that works hard to be just. Societies have legal systems. In today's world, they follow a law, but the systems don't make the world just or the days just. The people do. And the people do in many different roles. Um, this Torah portion talks about the role of king and judge and priest and prophet. And each one of those has a different role. The first three in Torah um, are in many ways guardians of systems. The king in the ancient day represents, just as today's political leaders of whatever stripe do, the taking care of the state in whatever form it is. It isn't a king today in most places, even those countries that have kings, it's not necessarily the king's task. Um, Likewise, in addition to the king, the judge is the one whose job it is to look after, as I said, the legal system, the system of laws, and to see that it is, whatever those laws are carried out in a way that is fair and true and equal and just. And of course, the priest in ancient days, the Kohen, that's what the word Kohen means, priest. Today, Jewish people don't have priests because that was a hereditary religious leadership. But those who look after the religion itself and its structure, those are that was the job of the Kohen and is the job of those who take on Jewish religious leadership today, whether they be Jewish professionals or others who do so. And really the piece that's missing today is the Navi, is the prophet. And the job of the prophet was not to look after a system, but to look after the ethics of that system, and the ethics of all the systems, and not to be one merely who tears down or disagrees for the sake of disagreeing, but rather one who seeks, together with all the others, to bring justice. And there's an interesting pun, I think, that takes place in the beginning of this week's Torah portion, where it's speaking initially to judges, but then changes its tune here in these few words that we see. Starting in the second verse of the Torah portion this morning, it says to the judges, you shall not judge unfairly. You shall show no partiality. You shall not take bribes, for bribes blind the eyes of the discerning and upset the plea of the just. But rather the purpose of the system is justice. Justice shall you pursue. that you, singular in the Hebrew, may thrive and inherit the land that the eternal your God is giving to you. But the first two Hebrew words of the words that I have on the screen are lo tateh. You shall not tilt judgment, the justice system, to one side or to the other. That's what lintot, that's what tateh means. Um, and then after it talks about tateh, it talks about tita. In verse 21, in a verse that seems after a small opening in the text, it says, "You shall not set up a sacred post, any kind of pole besides the altar of your God, the eternal, that you may make or erect a pillar, matzeva, for such your God, the eternal, detests." What do we see here? It seems strange to put next to the idea of the justice system right at the beginning of a parasha that focuses on that, the idea of having these trees that were worshipped by other groups, an Asherah, a pole of any kind, um, that was there um, next to the sacred places, or a stone pillar. What is a pillar or a post? Or a pole having that is not in common with a judge? Well, many things. It's trying to tell us, I think, because the way the Torah chooses to set it close here. Why? So we'll hear lo tateh and lo tita. That on the one hand, we should not turn the justice system to one side or another. We should not show favoritism. And at the same time, we should not be an unbending or inflexible post, that we must be able within the system to be not just some kind of mental analysis, but rather to be mind, heart, and soul, and to be moved by what is in front of us. That the system, which is a legal system, becomes just when we show it respect, stay within it, when we refuse to turn the system to our own needs, but at the same time, never stop having enough flexibility to see the human beings in front of us, and to say, what can I do, regardless of my roles, to meet their needs? We need to see human beings wherever we look. And our prayer for the IDF does just that. It reminds us in this seemingly endless war, painful, and a war that brings destruction and loss to so many, that we cannot forget that what's described in the Torah portion is also what the soldiers of the IDF, what they carry. That on the one hand, they're part of a system whose goal is to defeat evil and to bring security and possibilities for shalom. And on the other hand, we see them as people, and in impossible circumstances. Please join me in a prayer for them, and that their efforts in these ongoing days must somehow lead to a better world. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב ואמותינו שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל ושאר מגיני עמנו העומדים על משמרתם. ישמרם הקדוש ברוך הוא ויצילם מכל צרה וצוקה ומכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה בכל מעשה ידיהם. ויקוים בהם הכתוב, וכיתתו חרבותיהם לאתים, וחניתותיהם למזמרות, לא יישאו גוי אל גוי חרב, ולא ימדון עוד מלחמה, וישבו איש תחת גפנו, ותחת תאנתו, ואין מחריד, ונאמר, Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless the soldiers of the IDF and all who stand on guard for us. May the Holy One guard them against all difficulty and distress, injury, and illness. May all of their actions bring blessing, fulfilling the prophet's words. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, and may they learn war no more. May all sit under a vine or fig tree, with none to make them afraid. And together we say, Amen. Our prayers turn to those in need of strength and healing, those in our family, in our circle of friends, those around us in need of healing, those in our community, those part of our communal family, who continue to seek to recover or rehabilitate, or to live another day of meaning. And at the same time, those who are not just suffering from illness or injury, but forced isolation, the captives are in our hearts. They must be released. The world's lack of caring for them is what has led us into this time of pain and loss and violence for so many. For the hostages, for the ill, for those names given to me and given to Temple, for all of them, and the words placed in the chat, the names there, we turn to these words of refuah. מי שבירך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב ואמותינו שרה רבקה לאה ורחל, הוא ירפא את כל מכותינו. יהי רצון מלפניך אדוני אלוהינו להחלימם ולרפאותם, וישלח לנו מהרה רפואה שלמה ועטרת שלום, ונאמר אמן. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless and heal all who suffer. May the divine will provide healing and strength. Reveal to us, please reveal to us the holiness of life, the wholeness of shalom, and together we say, Amen. Well, it's very meaningful to be back here with you to connect and to reflect. And now we take time to remember, recalling those who died in recent days and weeks, those who died at this season in years past, those whom we've taken into our hearts with our own. During the last 30 days, we extend our condolences to the families of Alan Klasky, Helen Pollack, Kenter Paul Kowarski, Beatrice Rose Liss, Judy Tesler. And we also remember all victims of war and terror, including terror victim Olga Weisberg and the following IDF soldiers whose lives have been lost in the last 30 days: Amir Saad, Ori Gerlich, Inon Nuriel Vana. And on Yahrzeit, on the anniversary of their deaths, on this fourth day of the month of Elul, the 28th of August, 2025, we honor the life and legacy on Yahrzeit of Sophie Bowers, Maurice Coblin, Arthur David, Eve Ephraim Diamond, Joseph Hyman, Minnie King, Stacy Levitt, Sidney Littman, Hillel Lisbon, Gloria Matthews, Gusta Rusak, Richard Stanley, Zefeng Wu. Zichronam Levracha. May their memories be a blessing to us. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we turn together to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope, the words of Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemer rabba, ve'alma divrach ute ve'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chaye dechol bet Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kari v'imru, Amen. Yehe shmer rabba mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. ואלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במומם, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and bring comfort and strength to all who remember. And together we say, Amen. Well, Boker Tov, it's wonderful to be back with you and during the month of Elul, to be making our way to the high holidays. Boker Tov, make it a good one. See you tomorrow.